In this segment of It's Scary to Remarry, I want to discuss, can an unequally yoked relationship survive? What's up, Brave Arts community? This is Sean Heineman here with another segment of It's Scary to Remarry, wanting you to love fearlessly. And today we're going to talk about unequally yoked relationships. I know you hear that term a lot, maybe in the church, or maybe if you're spiritual, you hear this term a lot. But I want to talk about it from a practical perspective as well. And I'm going to talk about 3 different ways how you could be unequally yoked. There's a lot of ways you can really be unequally yoked, but I want to really touch on 3 that I think really cause a hindrance to most relationships. Now, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to share this video with someone who might be in need. And also don't forget to hit the notification bell too, because when the video upload, you'll be able to get the video first and you can leave a comment and I'll be more than happy to talk with you. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I appreciate all the Brave Hearts community for what you have done so far. It is the channel is really growing. I appreciate it. So let's talk about this unequally yoked relationship. Now, from a practical perspective, like agriculture wise, you will have 2 oxes or 2 animals who would be in this wooden yoke. Like you will have 2 animals and they will both be under this wood, but then there's a rope that would be around both of their neck in terms of agriculture if they're plowing the land. And you will have maybe one stronger ox and say one weaker ox who was actually plowing the land. And the term unequally yoked comes when one of them isn't as strong as the other. So the stronger one is always carrying the load. And when I was doing homework on this, I was looking at how they were saying that unequally yoked, you can't really perform the task at hand because there's one of the animals that's actually doing more of the pulling, and they're actually going in circles as opposed to going straight and getting the job done. So that's where you get this term unequally yoked. They can't really perform the task because there's one animal that's always doing more of the pulling. So this is where we get this term when it comes to relationships, because we're looking at it as one person who's always pulling the relationship and the other person is kind of just going along for the ride. Now, as I said before, there's like 3 areas I would like to discuss when it comes to unequally yoked. So let's jump into the first one. The classic one is the spiritual difference, right? When you have, say, different religions, and whatever religion you choose, you could just use this in the example. But a lot of times, and don't get me wrong, now let's say this, I know there are exceptions to the rule. I know, there's going to be somebody in the comments that's going to say, Sean, my grandmother was Muslim and my uncle, whoever, it was a Buddhist, and they made everything work and they've been married for 95,000 years. I get it. That's the exception to the rule. I understand. I'm talking about in most cases. So from a religion standpoint, it can cause strife because when it comes to raising children, who's going to teach the kids what? Are you going to teach them to be your religion, or are you going to teach them to the other person's religion? So that can cause issues in itself. Now, let me say this. If you claim to be whatever religion, but you really don't practice, then I can see the relationship working. You can claim to be one thing, but you're really not practicing. So you really won't be unequally yoked because neither one of you are really that deep into your spirituality. So it could work in that case. But you will have conversations where if you are deep in your spirituality, one of the problems can be is your belief system and the way that you're talking to your significant other or your spouse, because you're constantly trying to shove your belief system down this person's throat. And that's a recipe for disaster when it comes to being unequally yoked in relationships. I would say if you do plan on dating someone that's of a different religion, I would say just be the best example. If you're a Buddhist, right? Try to be the best example before that person that you can be. And that way you might be able to win them over. I'm not saying in forms of manipulation, but more of you setting that example for the other person to make them think, wow, I would really want to be a Buddhist, or I really want to be Muslim because of the way this person is treating me. Like they're showing me the way that, the scriptures say in the Quran or in the Bible. So that's one way you can really work on if you're trying to convert the person, be the change that you want to see. Now, for me personally, I feel that because for me, as being a Christian, I remember when I was on dating, there was a lady that I liked, but we really didn't have the same belief system. So to me, that's a red flag. That's something that we have to have the same belief system, because I can't be your everything. I can't be your God. I can't be your everything for you. So that's where you got to have your own personal relationship with, with God or whatever system that you believe in. I believe it makes relationships a lot easier when you have some kind of spirituality in your life. So you can tap into a higher power when your relationships are going south, because as people, we are all broken. And I think one of the biggest problems with relationships is we invest our whole total being into this person, where we're flawed, like we make mistakes. And that's when we realize that, oh, this person can't be my everything, that I maybe need to rely on a higher power, because that's a burden no man can carry, to be someone else's everything. Now, there was a guy I was reading in the comment section when I posted this on social media. He said, an unequally yoked relationship can survive if one is willing to submit to the plan and the will of the other. Now, I thought this was really good. I thought this was interesting because, like I said earlier in the video, if you're willing to be that Buddhist, and believe in those practices and becoming that person, if you believe in Jesus and becoming Christ-like to that person, that other person might submit to your belief system, because they really seeing the Bible or the Quran or whatever religion you believe in. They see that action in your everyday life. Now, here's the only difference is, in marriage, really, if one person is winning in the marriage or in the relationship, then the marriage overall is losing, because marriage is like the ultimate team sport, right? So if one person is winning, the marriage is losing, because someone is actually losing their self in the identity of another person, which I think is one of the biggest downfalls in a relationship, where you actually lose your own personal identity in a relationship. So here are other ways that you can be unequally yoked as well. You can be unequally yoked mentally. Let's talk about this. Maybe you're the type of person, you're into the deeper things in life. Maybe you're a conversationalist, right? And they don't like to talk. Like they don't like being around people, things of that nature. That can cause an issue in a relationship, where you maybe want to have someone in your life. Now, don't get me wrong, opposites can attract. But again, I'm talking about the rule, not the exception. So in that area, mentally, if you're into buying property, stocks, and investing and all those things, but then you're with someone who just want to live their best life, that relationship is not going to work. It's always going to cause problems. So mentally, if you're trying to talk about the deeper things in life, maybe you're more of like a psychological kind of person, and the actions and behaviors of humans, and someone else isn't into that, the conversations can really be dry, because that's just something that other person isn't interested in. And I believe that communication is big when it comes to a healthy relationship. Another way you can be unequally yoked is emotionally. I talked about this video before in my prior video. You could check that out in my last video. But what if you aren't in tune with your emotions? Because emotionally, you can be unequally yoked. Maybe you are in tune with your feelings. Maybe you are that type of person who can pick up on certain things, pick up on people's spirit or their energy. But then you might be with someone who isn't into that stuff. Like they're not in touch with their feelings. Maybe they just shut their feelings down. Maybe it's too painful for them to try to go back and deal with childhood trauma and childhood hurt because they probably never been affirmed as a child. So when you're unequally yoked emotionally, it can make you feel like you're alone because this person isn't giving you the things that you need emotionally. So feel free to leave a comment below. I would like to know if you think, can an unequally yoked relationship survive? If it can, or if you don't think it can, just leave a comment in the comment section. I would love to hear your thoughts on this video. Make sure that you share and subscribe with a friend, family member, someone who you feel might need this video. I am Sean Heineman at It's Scary to Remarry. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and make sure that you subscribe to this video as well. Take care, people.